They should lose all backing. I want to show this now. Going straight to this. I got to show it.
Talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you are
Mr.
not
President,
strong...
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come to the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the President for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have problems.
And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems, even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
See, this way he fucked up at. See, Trump didn't like that comment right there. You have a large water, a large ocean, so you'll feel it soon. Trump, don't try and tell me what I'm gonna be feeling. See, this is what happened when you the big dog, when you know you got the power, the military might behind you. Don't tell me nothing about what I'm gonna feel. Trump ain't trying to hear it.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
that.
You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on
position
this
to
question.
dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly
this.
what
I'm not
You're
dictating.
in no position
I'm gonna show y'all later. Somebody compared it to a dice game. This is hilarious. I'm gonna show this.
to dictate what we're going to feel.
You
We're
will-
going to feel very
you will
good.
Feel influence.
We're going to feel very
I'm
good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the very
bad position,
beginning
and he
of the
happens
war.
to be
As the sister said, get the air out your chest, man.
right about
From
it.
the very beginning of the war,
You're not
Mr.
in a
Brown,
good position.
I
You don't
was
have
in
the cards right now. With us, you start having.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
I'm not playing cards.
Right now, you don't.
I'm very
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're
No
gambling
face
with
cards,
World
buddy.
War III.
What do you
You're
think about?
gambling with
What is-
No
World
spade.
War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. It's
with
back
all
to you.
respect to your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said
very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once?
A lot of times.
No, in this
Even
entire
today.
meeting, have you
Trump almost smacked him.
said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the
Trump sitting on the edge of his seat, hands in that, hands in a triangle form. Trump wanted to just throw the right backhand.
October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States
what
of
you're speaking
America
about.
and the president who's trying to save your country.
So yeah, there's a lot of cues. I got ADP. Honorable says, I respect to the Oval Office. I support this message. Get his dry begging ass out of here. If they go to war, our community takes a loss being overrepresented in the military. Pop laughing like a USA. Brian, he came for the check. Well, here's the thing. What's crazy is, as y'all already know, he came to talk about the mineral deal that I talked about last week, the $500 billion mineral deal that America was going to do with Ukraine, which we said last week, that was Trump basically saying, look, if you want us to help get Russia off your ass, give us a part of your minerals in your country. We want to profit out of this somehow. We're giving you all these weapons and stuff. We're spending all these billions of dollars. We want some type of cut on something. So if you want us to get Trump up off of you, give us a deal with these minerals deal. He came to the White House, the Oval Office, and tried to turn a minerals deal conversation into about him getting funding for his Ukraine war. He was trying to get the public to turn on Trump. Now, with the liberal side of the media, the anti-Trump people, yada yada yada, it worked. They're saying that how Trump he was rude, how this is a bad representation for American negotiations, and how this is bad and rude. You know how the world is going to view us as clowns and all the other stuff. And I didn't see that. I saw a vice president and a president standing firm and really exposing him. Because later on in this, Trump exposed that Russia wants a ceasefire. You the one that's not asking for a ceasefire. And if you look at Zelensky's face, he was surprised that Trump said that publicly in front of the cameras. Because if it's true that Russia and Putin are asking for a ceasefire, because they winning, right? They winning. They could really just end this. And Zelensky's the one saying he doesn't want a ceasefire. He wants more weapons. And he wants Russia to give up something, then it makes Zelensky look like a dude who's looking to try and start World War III, which is what Trump said. Williams said, Zelensky has allowed the Democratic globalists to put a battery in his back. Well, yeah, he's trying to cover up for what was going on the last couple of years. What I believe is the money laundering going on. Well, he exposed that when he came out and immediately said, hey, we didn't get all that money we was promised. When Doge was created and they started talking about how they was going to go through and investigate all this funding and stuff, he immediately came out and started saying, hey, we didn't get all the money we're supposed to get. We don't know where it's at. Yeah, all right. Pop says Zelensky was close to get them hands. Virginia says, whoa, so many Masonic hand gestures by all three. Now, that's true as well. Trump is definitely doing Masonic hand figures, although in J.D. Vance right here with his right hand, he's doing one, as well as Zelensky with the right hand over the left hand. So, as always, everything is a play. Everything is theater. Pop said they should have jumped. Adam says, what are you holding on to the minerals for? Let them loss and take the shit. Hearing they got $350 billion for free was the end of all. Mark says Reuters are walking in the country and demanding billions of dollars. Brian said, how the fuck does he go from being an actor to a president? No, not an actor, comedian to being the president, and he won't allow elections. Now, I won't go in on that too completely because even when the UK, most countries during the time of war, they'll suspend government and not have elections. But, you know, it is what it is. I think I had another clip from this. I'm not going to play the whole thing probably.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war,
he's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country is in big trouble.
Can I answer?
No. You've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this.
He had to say it plain. He at some point he had to stop talking. You're not winning. The cards and all that other. You're not winning, buddy.
Have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks in this cabinet, and not only in this cabinet.
We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion. We gave you military equipment, and you men are brave, but they had to use our military.
What about
if you didn't have our military equipment, if you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days. This is something
maybe
new.
Less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this.
Again, just say thank you.
I said a lot of times to American people.
Except that there are
You see, thank you to the American people. See, he's been trying to convince the American public to be against America in this Ukraine-Russia stuff. Although I don't think he understands that the majority of the public is not in favor of them sending $350 billion to another country. That's over with. Pop said, ask me for $5, you better come with respect. Imagine $1 billion. Man, $1 billion, bruh. Oh, man, Virginia said, truth is, Trump is me and her with Zelensky is our daughter begging and talking shit. Be humble so you can catch these hands. I'm just a Masonic. Then we're nervous ticks. It was hilarious. Even everything the camera showed Zelensky feet, nervous as hell in there. Yeah, he did a lot of swallowing too. You know, you could tell his mouth was dry. Pop. You could tell his mouth was dry. He needed some water.
Disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long.
You see, Trump does those things where he takes over the whole conversation. He says, I let this go on this long. I could have shut this down. I could have the second you said something I didn't like, I could have told you to get the fuck out. But I allowed people to see us chew your ass out in public.
You have to be
Pause.
You don't have the cards. You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go, and I want this.
I wish I would have got the other version of this video that was closer. You see how when he said, I don't want to ceasefire, how Zelensky turned his head towards him? Like he didn't expect him to say that publicly?
Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now,
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire?
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster.
Oh man, Trump had to check him. Now, what's funny is, and this is the last part we'll do on this. We'll show one more thing about the minerals in a second. I was surprised about how white people reacted to black people's reaction to the Trump thing. Because obviously, like I said, the people that just hate Trump, they're obviously on social media. They're on social media, kicking Trump's back in for this, saying how disrespectful it was, how this doesn't look good for America. But majority of black people are really showing how similar this is to a regular day disagreement with someone. Paul says a great catch. Yeah. I want to show this. The white people like the black reaction and how simple, we made it so simple to understand. So this guy right here says, in this thread, we will post black people understanding Trump better than the highest paid political pundits. And this dude said, Trump was talking to Zelenskyy like he was at a dice game. And then somebody responded to that, this is why you can't borrow money from people. They trying to big bro him. And then someone says, Zelenskyy was bullshitting. Trump invited him to the dice game. This nigga tried to use his own dice. And when Trump said no, he tried to set this motherfucker down instead of rolling. He lucky Trump didn't pull the strap out. Honorable says, watching the aftermath of this in the comment of Sky News was hilarious. Europe doesn't need America. We need to rebuild our own military and weapons infrastructure. Give us back the 350. Well, I get what you're saying, but Europe absolutely needs America. Europe overplayed their hands with this Ukraine thing. When they cut off the connection to Russia with the gas and all the other stuff, Europe, that wasn't a good thing. They are in trouble of a possible collapse. We'll see how it goes for them, how they're able to try and slip up out of it, but they're not looking good right now. As much as people keep focusing on Ukraine, Europe in general, they're not making out well from this. I want to show this too. Where is it at? I want to show this one in particular because a whole bunch of black people made these posts explaining it. I want to show this one in particular of a sister talking about it. This was funny.
Okay, I'm going to wrap up this White House meeting in a nutshell and keep up, okay? Because I'm going to go kind of fast. Well, what happened? Zelenskyy decided he wanted to invite the media in, and Donald J. Trump and Vance was like, that's fine. We ain't got nothing to hide.
Okay. All right, Honorable, okay.
In here in our meeting, but okay, that's fine. We don't care. So the media was there, so we saw the whole thing unfold. What really happens behind closed doors when you see them presidents and leaders really negotiating and going back and forth, that's really what be happening behind closed doors. It's not nice. It's not pretty. Okay, I digress. So everyone was there, so they got to witness it, and...
I'm going to say African-Americans that support Zelenskyy behavior, no suit wearing, begging ass scares me. Oh, yeah, that's another thing people pointed out. How he dressed coming to the White House. Now, I get it. He's been trying to wear these, like, rundown, war-type clothing. I'm wearing this, I'm wearing a sweatsuit, or not sweatsuit, but I'm wearing this military-type uniform, not uniform, but clothing. So he's trying to dress down almost, like I'm a president in the middle of war. But it's like, you come to the White House, you're supposed to be suited and booted, man. Honorable said those were some of the white comments. Okay, my bad. Mark says, reminds me of Pops from Friday. Every time I'm in the kitchen. Pops said Trump fitness on getting a Greenland from Europe off this watch. He's going to finesse it. Hey, he might. Like I said, Greenland, Europe in general ain't doing the best. And if they really need the money, I don't know if he's willing to pay for it. I don't know if that's how that goes. They did it with Alaska at least, so we'll see.
They were basically saying, Trump said, look, we want a ceasefire. We want peace talks, all of that. But what's going to happen, you're going to give us a stake in your minerals. Because we've sent you a lot of money. We sent you troops to a war that you knew you weren't going to win.
Knew you weren't going to win.
In order to kind of even the field, kind of get that back, how about you just give us a stake in your minerals? Well, Zelenskyy started kind of talking with a little air in his chest. I think he had a lot of pride. I think that's what it was. And Vance kind of shut that shit down. Vance started asking him questions like, come on, man, we done did all this for you. He said, you kind of arrogant. You got a lot of air in your chest, and you ain't even said thank you. We basically done saved you, and you ain't even said thank you. You real arrogant around here. That's basically what Vance was saying. So Zelenskyy kind of decided he wanted to talk even more greasy, right? So he went to talking, and then at the end he said, and you gonna feel it too. That's when Trump stepped in and was like, ho, player, wait a minute. You ain't even in a position to tell us shit. You can't tell us what we gonna feel, because in the card game where we playing cards, you ain't even got no cards. If it weren't for us, you wouldn't be sitting here right now. And Trump said out his mouth, he said, that stupid ass president, he didn't say stupid ass, but he said stupid. He said that stupid president sent you all of that money and sent you them troops. They kept talking, and Trump was like, let's stop that right now. We just gonna stop with you telling us what we gonna feel, because you ain't in a position to tell us shit. All right, fast forward. They kept talking. They kept going back and forth. Trump said, look, you toying around with World War III here. We trying to give you some peace talks. We trying to get a ceasefire going on around here, and you walking up in here with the air in your chest. Like, what's going on, my guy?
My guy?
He kept talking greasy, and Trump said, look, if it weren't for what we sent you, you wouldn't have lasted 2 weeks against Putin. He said, I done talked to Putin. Putin ready for a ceasefire. What's your problem? When he said you wouldn't last 2 weeks against Putin, he gonna double down. Zelenskyy gonna double down and say, Putin said we wouldn't last 3 days. Donald Trump shot back and said, you wouldn't even lasted that long. At the end of it all, because he had so much air in his chest and so arrogant, Donald Trump said, all right, you can leave, player, but don't call us back until you're ready for a ceasefire or talk some peace or do some negotiating, because this what you doing. He said, you're not going to last, and you probably going to start World War III. So get your head right, player, and come back and holler at us.
Fox's air in the chest is crazy. Yeah, but the white people reaction, you see here, this is probably my favorite breakdown of what happened in the Oval Office with Trump, Zelenskyy, and JD. I'm adding greasy to my lexicon now. Oh, shit. They always find a way to do something like that, don't they? Easy is my newest follow. Thanks for sharing the clip. Yeah, now they're going to be called, now you're going to have white Republicans run around saying people talking greasy. 2025, man. All right. Last thing I want to show on this, and we'll move forward, because there's a guy who's calling BS on the whole minerals thing. He said it. He's basically saying, I'm not going to play the whole video. It's 13 minutes. But the gist of it is he's saying that there's not $500 billion of minerals in Ukraine. That this is actually what Trump is trying to do is similar to what happened in Afghanistan when they originally went to Afghanistan for so-called resources, saying it was $1 trillion worth of resources. I'm going to play that the first 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'll jump to the end of it so you can finish it off. I'm not going to play the whole thing, though.
Good morning. Minerals experts and supply chain managers, and even military historians now, are in good company, and that we are deeply skeptical of the latest developments in Ukraine and their promise to pledge $500 billion worth of rare earth metals as some kind of guarantee on the aid that they've been given. The reason we're skeptical is that we've seen this movie before in Afghanistan. War planners and politicians who support the wars are looking for solid reasons to keep them going and pretend that wars can pay for themselves. In the case of Afghanistan, it was a giant trove of mineral deposits, including lithium, that went nowhere. A complete fantasy, as this Bloomberg writer here puts it. And now we're doing it again in Ukraine. Simply put, Ukraine does not have rare earth metals. Here's a chart that explains why we would love to find some in friendly countries. China, Vietnam, Brazil, Russia, Greenland, which is part of Denmark, but this chart explains a lot of the rhetoric on Greenland.
So now you see why he wants Greenland.
Here's the actual report from the U.S. Geological Survey, and this one is very different from others we've done lately, because the United States does have significant rare earth mining production, 45,000 tons throughout 2024. China's 270,000 tons. That is more than the rest of the world combined, but at least the U.S. is on the board for a change in the number 2 spot. Proven reserves are a problem for the United States with just 1.9 million tons of reserves, which puts us far below the BRICS countries. Still, that's...
Now you see the conflict with BRICS that's going on with South Africa, China, India, Russia, and Brazil.
50 years of production at current rates, but Ukraine doesn't show up on this list either as a producing country or as one with significant reserves.
So I ain't gonna put the rest of it. You get the point. He basically saying it reminds him of Afghanistan, but what happened? Now, remember when the war first kicked off in Ukraine, there was people that believed that the reason why they wanted that to kick off was so that they can have a reason to destroy whatever evidence of possible laundering going on or other things, servers over there or whatever. Remember, there was even biolabs that were in Ukraine that were American funded. So there may be another reason why Trump wants to just get something in Ukraine. But it's not minerals, it's not resources, that's not there. So it has to be another reason he wants to get into Ukraine. And we already, like you said, we know why he wants Greenland from the Dutch or whatever. Says, I don't care if it's really not really mineral that Trump wants or gets. They need to come up off something for that 350 billion. When they lost, do we share in holding this L for giving them most funding? Well, America has military elites. They have so much money because they just print it. They're not going to necessarily take a loss for any of this as far as financially. It's just not, But I do say we have seen Trump do a lot of rollbacks for financially as soon as he got in office. Any extra money he can find, he's pulling it up for a reason. I keep saying him bringing up the Federal Reserve or at least Fort Knox is very telling. Anyway, let's move on. Quick story on this. I killed him. White man lied in wait before shooting black ATV driver. Pops said brilliant. I think it has to do with the location. Yeah, it has to. It has to. But the location would be more so if he was trying to get at Russia. Or maybe we look in the wrong direction. Maybe instead of looking east, we need to look west. What is west? What does Trump want access to west or north or south of Ukraine rather than east? I don't know. Adam says, why do you think Trump mentioned Apple paying $16 billion when responding to questions about the EU? Europe. It has to be. And he knows Europe is not going to do well with them cutting off their energy supply from Russia. So we can get a foothold in Ukraine and build up the infrastructure our own way through BlackRock. We now have our Israel. We now have our Israel of Europe. The same way we use Israel as a strategic spot for the Middle East, even though Israel makes sure to take advantage of it too. We'll have our Israel, which remember, when the Ukraine war first started, they referred to Ukraine as Big Israel. They had the same plan of what happened to Israel that was supposed to happen in Ukraine. And if you go further into that, the original Israelis, quote unquote, their people actually came from, I think, was it eastern or southeastern Ukraine? It had another name for it. All right, it's getting kind of deep. We'll see. We'll see how that goes.